Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I will be doing a rod and reel review of the rods I have in my truck. And as you can see behind me, I do have a few of my rods out. And this is going to be in series of the tackle and equipment I have in my truck at all times and why. I keep it there when I go fishing. But today I'm going to do a rod and reel review. And I'm going to cover the pros and cons of each. So let's get started. Alright, we'll start with the Cat Buster. It's a 11-foot heavy action with a medium fast tip on it. Has a line weight of 20 to 40 pound test. It's an 11-foot heavy action rod. It's paired with a KastKing Pontus 5000. It has Cajun 17 pound test, and it has a sinker slide with a 4-ounce weight down to a rubber bobber with a barrel swivel down to one of my catfish rattles and a number 10 hook. Last time I went fishing with this, instead of bringing in a fish, as you can see, I brought in a bunch of junk line that was on the bottom of it. That's sitting on the bottom of the the lake. Now, the pros of this rod is what I like the best is its castability for long distance. It can has a backbone and the power to bring big cats up out of current and out of deep. And I can fight them without horsing them in. I have my drag set adequately to where I have a good fight and I don't have to worry about losing the fish with this Cajun line. The negative advantages of this is if there's overhanging trees that's low down, I can't cast it unless I do a side cast. Trees are not the friends to these big rods, but they do have the power and they have the backbone that I need and I like. But now to go to the KastKing reel. I like the brake drags. I like the front drag. I like how it handles the ball bearings. The thing is I don't like about this is the neck. Because as you can see, that twist, that's a neck. So when you're reeling it in, you're fighting the fish, this whole bottom, the whole reel is going side to side, just like that. So that's not a good thing. That's the only thing I don't like about this KastKing, is that neck ain't stable enough to handle the cranking on it when you got a big cat on it. That's why I'll use this for blues, but I will not use it for flatheads. And that's why I carry 17 pound Cajun line on this. So if I get into brush piles and holes in the metals that's underwater, I can fight those big cats and help bring them out. Okay, we'll go with the Chunky's rod. That's what I call it, it's a Chunky Cat rod. It's a BJ rod, 7-foot medium heavy action, line weight 6 to 25 pound test, and 2 to 4 ounces. This has Shakespeare ATS low profile reel. It's a 7-foot line spooled with 30-pound Whiskey Seeker thin line, which is super strong, really tough and durable. I love it. I'm glad that Richard Ward sent me this reel with a line on it, which was fresh. I can cast this bait caster since I have the drag set already. Just every time before I go and cast it, I have to reset it. I always make sure it's adjusted right. The only thing that I find bad about it is the shortness. I have to get used to casting a short rod. I'm used to casting 11, 12, 13, 15, and 18-foot rods, and now I can cast this, but I can cast it at a good distance, just not the distance I'm used to casting. But this rod is what I use for flatheads, and I have used it with Patriot James floats, and I have put I have casted this with 5 and 6 ounce weights, and it's handled it. It's done good, but I won't continuously using those heavy weights. I'll stick with a 4 ounce weight on this thing, with a live bait underneath it, under a Patriot James float overnight, close to bank for flatheads. Okay, this is another Catbuster rod that I have. It's 11 foot, it's the same thing as the other one, but this one is paired with a Penn Pierce 8000 reel, spooled and 40-pound braid. It has a 4 ounce weight on it, has a 4 ounce weight on the sinker slide with a rubber bobber stop to 100-pound barrel swivel with a 30-inch leader with a rattle trap catfish rattle on it. That rattle is another story. I'll go over that one in a later time. Like I said, the only downfall to this is low-hanging trees. This reel has brought in some 40s and 50-pound cats, blue cats. It has brought in some 20 and 30-pound and 35-pound flatheads. So this rod and reel combination here is awesome. I like it. But like I said, the only downfall I have to this is this does not handle well under low-hanging trees. Okay, now to the big boy, the Okuma Tundra, 15-foot heavy action with a fast action tip. It has a line weight of 10 to 30 pounds. It has I normally throw a 5 to 8 ounce weight with this thing, depending on how bad the current is. It's paired with a Penn Pierce 8000. It has 45-pound high-vis yellow line on it, which is a great line. It's super strong, and it goes all the way up to a sinker slide, a rubber bead, 100-pound barrel swivel with a 30-inch leader with an artificial goldfish. Well, what this is intended for is to mimic a live goldfish in a current. And what I do with this, I'll put a piece of sucker that's a bloody or skipjack or shad on there, which will put a scent out there and leave it set out there and let the big cats come after it. So this is another good reel, and this reel and rod, 2 years before I started my YouTube channel, it brought in my personal best, 83 pound blue. And the backbone on this and the strength that this rod had, it helped me handle that blue in the current and keep control of him, help turn him around and bring him back. And the drag on this thing is set just right, so any cats over 20, say about 20 pounds, they will pull the drag on this, and it handles them. And I have a number 6 offset triple threat hook on this. So, like I said, the only downfall to this is low-hanging trees. As long as I don't have trees around, I can cast this thing a mile. Now, this rod is nice. I love this rod. I got this rod, another one just like it, from Richard Ward. You may know him as Mad Catter. He came down to the last meet and greet and brought me 2 of these. I had this reel I had on another rod, which is a Cat Daddy reel. I use this for channel cats and flatheads. This is a 7-foot medium heavy action rod. Line weight's I'd say 15 to 25 pounds. It has 2 to 4 ounce weights, but they say this is a medium heavy action rod. But this rod and the chunky cat rod, I say these more lean towards the heavy action side of the heavy action rod for a 7-foot. And I have not found a downfall to these rods yet. With a 4 or 5 ounce weight, I can send them out. But I like using these for both blues and flatheads. This is spooled with a 25-pound thin line monofilament that I use to keep it for heavy brush. But the line I mainly choose, if I had to, would be braid. But when I go around heavy brush and sunken boats that's made out of metal with holes in them, I go to monofilament so I won't cut them. Now to my crappie rod. This is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite crappie rods I have. And the biggest downfall I have to this is overhanging trees. But I adjust to it. This is a 2-piece, 12-foot, medium light action rod. And as you can see, it has a good tip on it. I have a Sienna reel on it. The Sienna 1000 is spooled with 6-pound test. And when I have it rigged up, this rod normally has 2 of Lyle Stokes jigs on it. And I'll have a double jig rig with a weighted bobber on top of it, set it anywhere from, right now this time of year I'd have it set at 4.5 to 5 foot depth for crappie and bluegill, maybe 6. So I love this rod and I love the reel. It has a real good tip, so anytime I'm under a tree like I am now, I just cast sideways and I can get it out the distance I want and it'll go, and it won't have no problem with it being that way. I can cast it overhead, but when I'm jigging for a crappie and I have a double hook rig on it, a double jig rig for a crappie, I always do a side cast. I never do an overhand cast, because doing an overhand cast with a double jig rig, you're asking for it to get tangled up. Okay, this is my last rod for the day. This is a Crappie Stalker 12 action, medium lead action. It's a good rod. It's paired with a Sienna 1000, which I got these reels out of Walmart, and these reels are really worth it, because they'll bring in a crappie left and right. I basically use this with I've used this with jigs as well, and I normally have this one paired up with brush pile jigs, a double hook rig. What I mean on how I do that is, let's say, since I got this line here, I'll tie I have one jig tied up here, and I'll have another jig tied right there. And right above that last jig, I have a little split shot. And about maybe 4 or 5 feet up, I'll have a weighted bobber. And I'll normally put either a crappie niblet behind it, or what the crappie and bluegills love the best would be the waxworms. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you later. Tight lines, good luck, and happy fishing.